Hey, what's up, world? Welcome back to the Sam Bellisio channel and my Turning 30 Diaries. If you're a new viewer slash subscriber, maybe, thanks for watching. I know the first video ended up in a few in a few different places, just based on the views, which was awesome. So thank you so much to anybody that was looking at that video without the link. It's greatly appreciated. It means the algorithm is working somewhat. So hopefully, maybe this series can help some people in some way, because that's the whole point. It's supposed to be value. Supposed to be some level of value for people. So just sharing my story, and I understand the talking head style, podcasty style of filming is not for everyone. But as I get a little bit more confident with the camera, hopefully we get to a point where there's a little bit more editing. Maybe I start to film outside. Who knows? I'm just not that confident to do it outside yet, but I would like to in the future. So stick around for that if you can. Today I thought we'd just talk about a little bit about why I quit the 9 to 5 rat race, what I'm going to do from here on out, and hopefully somebody can empathize with that, and we can sort of share our stories together as we go, because I still try to figure it out. I know that's a common theme amongst people now that the COVID era has well and truly finished. People are trying to figure out their place in the world and trying to figure out where they're going in it, what the next moves are. And yeah, I think it's important to share, important to collaborate, and important to build a sense of community amongst people. Yeah, so where did it start for me? Where did I realize that 9 to 5 grinding behind a desk was not for me? Well, about a month ago, I realized at my desk job that staring at the computer all the time for eight hours a day slash more was just not for me. Just mindlessly filling out spreadsheets and going through different programs, talking to various clients and things like that. It just got draining, and I realized the crystallizing moment for me when this all kind of clicked together, and I realized that, hey, this is not for me. I need to find something different, or I'm gonna go down a bad path. Was when I was sitting in a team meeting, and we were asked to share what our goals were for the next 5 years. And I honestly couldn't bring myself to say that I'd be working for the same company. And for a company like the one I worked for, and I'm sure a lot of companies that you are working for that are quite, they're bigger in scale. They want you to be a team first, team orientated person. And I'm not saying that I wasn't, but I just thought that environment for me specifically wasn't quite working. And sometimes, rather than continue in the same sort of monotonous pattern, if you are able to, and I know that everyone is not able to do this, because it took me a couple of months or more to figure out that I was ready to do this. If you're able to, quitting and then putting all your energy into find your passion and your focus is, I think, quite a good step, because you can start to put your energy into where it matters most, and that's making you happy, connecting with your community or finding your community, and building that human connection with a lot of people, which is so damn important. And I envy those people that can do that right off the bat, because when we get stuck in the grind of the 9 to 5, we tend to forget it. We tend to forget about connecting with people. We get too tired. Our work becomes our whole life, because we just get so focused on giving to the team, participating in things with the team. We kind of forget that work is not our life. Work is just a part of our life, and it may not be fulfilling for a lot of people, depending on what you're doing. I know I studied something completely different from what I was just doing, and neither of those things neither of those career choices, the degree I studied in, which was education, and the job I was most in now, most recently and now, neither of those things fulfill my passion. And, I didn't quite figure out that I was missing that something until now. And of course, you have to prepare. Like anything in life, you have to prepare for the step of leaving your steady income. Okay, that's the scariest part. And uh, I didn't really have a plan for after quitting the job. I just knew that I needed to bank a little bit of savings away in preparation for not having a job. Because I know in this current economy that there is side hustles galore. You see all those YouTube videos where they talk about side hustles, the gig economy, doing DoorDash to or Uber to save some money and work towards your dream job. And it's like, yeah, cool, but is it enough to live on? So while I did mention that I quit without a plan of what I'm going to do or where I'm going to go, it's important to at least prepare your savings, because money makes the world go round. And if you don't have it, then at least something in reserve, then you are going to potentially be at a loss in both your financial well-being and maybe your mental well-being, because the cost of living is so high these days, guys. It's rough out there, and while I'm all for finding a passion and finding your individual self and what you are good at in your life, and what you want to do, you've got to do it in a smart way. Okay, so that starts me off into like the challenges that I faced to begin my journey of quitting my 9 to 5. I enjoyed the time off and a little bit of a break when I first quit, but where my money was going to come from was the first hurdle I had to face, because you can keep leaning on your savings, but you need some level of income. Now, I'm lucky in this regard. I have some skills I can fall back on that are a little bit in demand in terms of my teaching capability. So I was an English teacher for quite a few years in both Australia and Japan. And so I have a small online tutoring business that I run on the side that provides some level of income safety for me to be able to pursue things. And my suggestion is, if you're going to prepare to quit your 9 to 5, find a skill that you can utilize outside of your work, that can be done as a gig or as a side hustle of sorts. So English teaching is a big one. It's in high demand all the time, especially online tutoring is quite big. Working for Uber, which is another thing that I do at the moment. So working for Uber, whether it be driving passengers or doing the food delivery. So while Uber as a company I don't recommend, any of the other companies that pay reasonably well, always good to look at. And you can even do that on a bike to save money, because I know fuel is a big cost for a lot of people these days. Outside of those financial things, I've been struggling with a lot of self-doubt and the loss of structure. So myself, I'm a person that thrives in a lot of structure. So I come from a sports playing background where I was fortunate enough to play at a reasonably high level in rugby. And during that time as a rugby player, my whole day was structured around the team. So from the time I wake up to the time that we play our games at the end of the week, everything is structured, from what we eat to how we train, to when we play our games. So everything was all structured for you, and that's the thing I really struggle with coming out of my job, because our professional lives are very similar to that sort of environment to an extent. Everything's structured. When you wake up, the first thing you need to do is get to work. Once you get to work, you have a list of things to do from your boss or from your subordinates, things like that. So everything is structured for you, and losing that structure, losing that big chunk of your day that you're able to structure your day around, is a huge difference. And I know if I don't have that structure, I can get really lazy, and I struggle to build on those skills that I was talking about. So learning those new skills, trying to pick up new skills to be able to develop myself into that passion or where I need to be to explore that passion. It's really important. So as I stated, that loss of structure creates a level of self-doubt, and that self-doubt leads to a lot of sleeping, depression, not knowing what to do, not thinking I'm good enough to attempt what I'm doing. Maybe I should go back to my job that I was working in, things like that. And I'm just going to say it's none of it. None of it. There are a few things you can do to circumvent the negative, the negativity around those challenges, and be able to get you in the right mindset for where to go. And we can talk about those in a little bit more in depth in another video, because I think I'm waffling on with that. But yeah, those negatives are real when you quit your 9 to 5, and those are my warnings for anybody that is thinking of quitting. So financial stability, loss of structure, and the crippling self-doubt that comes with quitting your 9 to 5. So they are very real things, and you need to at least prepare for those when you are thinking of quitting your job, because it can turn into a bit of a spiral really quickly. And I say that from experience. And you can spiral into really hectic depression if you are not careful, and it takes a lot of energy to get up out of that hole. So I would, in a very simple way, I suggest get yourself into an exercise regime. When try and structure your wake up and your go to bed times. Wake up and go to bed times. Your waking up times and your bed times, just like if you were a kid, because you've got to structure yourself. Without it, you will sort of fall apart. And then from there, also structure your day. So try to structure your day, whether we're doing interviews for the jobs that you want, planning out your study time for the new skills that you're trying to learn, and also plan out a lot of time to do those side hustles in a part-time capacity for yourself over the course of the week. So I know myself, like I do 3 days a week of Uber, and the other 3 days studying for where I want to be. But once you do those things, and once you're aware of those things, it all falls into line. And if you're healthy in the mind, and you're happy in the mind, because you're pursuing something that you feel passionate about, you feel is the right direction, okay, you will be a lot happier. It's going to be a grind in its own way, but at least you're doing something for yourself, and that's a lot better than doing something for someone else and not really getting that fulfillment that you so desire for your life, because that's what's important: human connection, fulfillment, and following your passion, guys. So try and find that, try and have a think about that, and just be ready for those negatives once they do come. And stay tuned for an in-depth look into the positives, how to best help yourself. And I might try and film that video outside, I think, and get some B-roll footage, because me talking for 13 to 15 minutes is probably not the best thing. And if you're still listening, thanks. No worries. I appreciate you. But yeah, I know attention spans are pretty low these days. So thank you for staying with me for this time. If you are still here listening, and drop a comment down below if you want to share your story of quitting your 9 to 5 and the negatives that came with it, just so people can empathize a little bit with your story, and we can start to create a community. Because I think that's the best thing that should come out of these videos, is creating that community of people who are quitting their 9 to 5 and want to follow their passions, guys. So thank you again for watching, and I appreciate it. And let's figure this out together. Thanks.